Episode 4, Wild Roses. The sky is orange as day gives way to nightfall in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Two ladies in a black Jeep with the doors off race down a country back road with the music blaring. Julia, who was in the driver's seat, lights a joint, takes a couple of hits before trying to pass it to her friend Mckenzie, who shakes her head no. Julia shoots her a weird look before saying, "Girl, your vibe has been way off all afternoon. What is your deal?" Mckenzie didn't say anything, but kept staring out into the fields as they passed by. "Hello, Earth to Mckenzie," Julie said loudly. Mckenzie, who was deep in her own thoughts, snapped back to reality. "What? Oh, shit. Sorry, I was lost in my head. My bad. I'm good. Really." Julie gave her side looks while driving and hitting her joint. She then flicked it out into the wind and blew out a large stream of smoke before saying, "Well, I don't believe you. Not even a little bit, but if you don't want to talk about it, then fuck it. You don't want to talk about it. I've lived with you long enough to know that there are two Mckenzies." "Excuse me?" Mckenzie snapped back, half laughing. "My mood swings are not that bad. Check yourself." "Shit," Julie blurted out. "See, there's two. There's Boss Bitch Mckenzie, full of confidence, and a ray of little sunshine in any room. And then there's this Mckenzie." She waved her hand from her red hair to her waist. "Zoned in, hyper-focused, distant, and your vibe is icy cold. Like you put a 'don't fuck with me or pay the price' stamp on your forehead or some shit," she said, laughing. Mckenzie managed a fake laugh, but thought to herself that maybe, just maybe, her new BF could handle the truth about her. It would be nice to have somebody to confide in. Julia wrapped up her analysis with a shrug. "Shit, I know the truth though." Mckenzie gathered her thoughts, smirked and said, "Well, lay it on me." Interested in what truths Julie thought she knew. "Well, it's obvious. The whole Cat and Evan sex tape scandal is still killing you on the inside. Admit it." Mckenzie started laughing out loud. "Killing me? Now that's fucking rich. Whose memorial service are we going to again?" "Oh, bitch," Julia screamed out with a shocked look on her face. "That is fucking cold, girl. See, that right there is why you're the new queen of ice. Right there. Good God, girl." Mckenzie looked at her and winked, and then started singing out loud, "Do you want to build a snowman?" The song made Julia snort while laughing so hard out loud. "Seriously though," Mckenzie said as she settled down, "they were both your standard cases of beautiful people with the ugliest of souls. The world is full of them, you know. High society assholes who look down on people and who don't care what effects their actions have on anybody else's life as long as they are perceived the way they want to be perceived and they get what they want out of people and then toss them aside." Mckenzie finished her rant, getting a little heated. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and continued. "So I guess you're right. Tonight is closure for me in a way. Put this all behind me," she half lied. Julia smiled and rubbed her shoulder. "See? Feels good to let that shit out, doesn't it?" Mckenzie smiled and nodded before staring back outside, her mind back on the mysterious person who sent her the letter and the rose. She didn't lie, at least not fully. Tonight would be the night she would put all this matter to rest, as soon as she killed the very last witness to her most recent crime. The black Jeep creeped down a long winding driveway and pulled up to a big house tucked away in the woods. The house was very modern and had a slick look. It couldn't be more than a couple years old. Loads of people were already standing outside in the gigantic yard talking and drinking. The chatter filled the air, hovering above the music in the background. The tip of the gathering was not really a party, but more like a chill get-together. The girls got out of the Jeep and walked towards the party. Julia was wearing a tight-fitting, short black and gray dress that fit her curves perfectly. Her long, jet black hair flowed effortlessly. Mckenzie's long, bright red hair was braided into two long braids and flowed down her back just as magical. She was wearing the dress that Julie her sister, and Amy had picked out on her earlier that day. It hugged her shape and made her figure pop. It had a deep V cut down the middle that ran down her breast and a slit down the side. She refused to wear the heels that they had picked out though. She went for boots instead. She didn't care what anybody said or that it upset the look. You can't hide a switchblade in heels. As the ladies walked up to the door, saying hi to various people they both had classes with, they reached the giant arching doorways of the mini mansion. They both stopped and looked at the giant poster cutout propped outside the doorway. It was a picture of Kat smiling with clouds in the background, words scribbled across the top, in remembrance of a Southern angel, from 1998 to 2022. Julie and Mckenzie exchanged looks in silence as if they shared the same thought. A soft voice started speaking from behind them. I know what you guys are thinking. I've heard whispers all night as I walked up to people. Why isn't Evan in any of the pictures? Am I right? The girls turned around to see a plump and very pretty young black girl standing behind them. She was wearing a black top with a black, green, and red skirt. She had long knot braids. They draped down her shoulders and back. You're, Lindsay, right? Mckenzie asked. The girl nodded yes in response. Mckenzie recognized her from around campus and the party from a couple of weeks ago. She was one of the girls that helped clean off Kat after Mckenzie had spilled that pizza rotel all over her dress. That memory made her smile on the inside just a little bit. This is Julie, and Lindsay cut them off. I know who the both of you are. Hard to forget either one of you with the kind of run-ins that you've had with Kat. She finished half smiling. Don't worry about it. It's all in the past though, she said in rushed words, seeing their face. I have to ask. Kat came off a little too racist to have black friends. I'm so confused, Julia blurted out. And why isn't Evan in any of these fucking pictures? No fucks given, Mckenzie said under her breath. She tried not to laugh. Her bestie never bit her tongue. I mean, damn girl, not even once. Not true, Lindsay chirped. I've been her friend since kindergarten. She didn't start acting like that till her mother and sister started brainwashing her with all that CSBS shit. Julie and Mckenzie looked at each other and shrugged. Sorry, you're not locals. I forgot, Lindsay said, tapping herself on the forehead. The Chattanooga Southern Belle Society? Basically the daughters and wives of the city's wealthiest and most powerful men. Kat was just trying to live up to their impossible standards and their backwards way of thinking. This isn't who she was all the way through grade school. It wasn't until she got old enough to be in this society that they really started brainwashing her and she changed and started acting different. The girl that disrespected you two was not the girl I grew up with. I hear all that, but it does not make it right, Julia said coldly. It doesn't, Lindsay spoke quietly, but don't judge someone by one mistake, because some would say that's also not right. Get me? She and Julia stared at each other, trying to see who would back down first. Mckenzie felt the tension in the air and decided it was best to change the topic. So, why is Evan not in any of the pictures again? I thought this was a memorial service for both of them, she asked. Lindsay turned her eyes from Julie and rested them on Mckenzie. I would think somebody like you, of all people, would get it. This isn't some tragic love story, like everybody's out trying to make it to be. That asshole killed my best friend. He killed his girlfriend. He killed Kat, because he got caught cheating. His track record of mistreating women is well known, and other things still haven't came to light. I would be damned if I put his picture up anywhere on my yard. Mckenzie felt as if there was something else Lindsay wasn't saying. Did he? And she let her words trail off. Lindsay stood up straight and flicked her braids over her shoulder. Let's just say, Evan takes what he wants when he's drunk. Mckenzie started feeling sick to her stomach that she ever willingly slept with that piece of shit in the first place. But she also took a sense of pride in the thought that she made sure he could never harm any other girl ever again. Lindsay started tearing up, which made Julia turn off bitch mode and soften up a little bit. Hey. Don't let that fuckboy live rent free in your head, she said as she went down the stairs, off the porch, and gave the girl a hug. Mckenzie smiled, having heard those same words used to comfort her all not too long ago. Let's go get a drink and wash away all those bad thoughts. Lindsay smiled and wiped her face. Yeah, sounds good. You ladies follow me, I'll show you around. I am the host of this party after all, and this is my house. The three women walked inside the house. The home had high ceilings with sparkling white walls, decorated with the most expensive portraits. The floors were black marble, and the furniture jet black, giving the house a very Hollywood feel. Loads of important looking people were all in quiet conversations scattered throughout the house. Some talked in quiet whispers, and some looked up and started staring at her and Julie, making Mckenzie feel out of place. Okay, ladies, I'm gonna leave you here for a second. Enjoy the party. I'm gonna go get us some refreshments, Lindsay said as she made her way into the kitchen. This girl is loaded, Julia said under her breath as she looked around the house. Yeah, you're right. I think her family's like all doctors or some shit. Like mother, father, aunts, uncles, all of them, Mckenzie said, even though she was half distracted. She was looking around anxiously. She had an anxious look on her face as she looked around. She was on her secret mission, trying to pick out who the stranger was. Thinking to herself, were they in the room right now, looking at her? She was sure of a couple of things. 1, they had to be her age. 2, they must go to her school. And 3, this one she thought about for a minute, it only makes sense that it's probably a guy. As she watched the crowd around her, a group of 3 people walked right up to her and Julie. Well, excuse me, have we met? The pretty blonde woman asked. She was standing next to a middle-aged man in a rather loud suit with multiple gold chains dangling around his neck. The last guy was very tall and had a serious face and thick glasses. No, I don't think we've met, Mckenzie replied. Oh, but child, I think we have. Well, at least I've seen all that you have to offer, as she used her eyes to trace Mckenzie's body from her head to her toes. At least, the video that came out, she said, smiling. Lindsay returned with drinks, handing one to each girl. Oh, I see you guys have met Beth. Julia spoke up. Oh no, we haven't met anybody. No introductions were given. Just somebody coming over here barking out smart-ass comments, she said coldly. Oh, my lord, this one is feisty, a little feisty mamacita, isn't she? The blonde-haired woman said while nodding in approval. Well, let me tell you my name before you go like Keto Taco Bell on my ass. Julia stepped up, fist balled, shaking from anger. Bitch, I will beat the bleach bond dye out of your motherfucking... Michaela stepped in front of Julie, putting her hand over her mouth. Not the time, in the place, bestie. Calm yourself. Breathe. Julia calmed down slowly, staring at Mckenzie in the eyes. Lindsay whispered in Julia's ear, I would really appreciate it if you didn't fuck up my parents' rich clients in the middle of our living room. Please and thank you. Okay, everybody chill, the guy in the loud suit said. It was very rude for my fiance, but she was talking from a place of passion, I would say, and hurt over the loss of her sister. So let's start over, shall we? He stuck out his hand to shake Mckenzie's. My name is Jacob Lipton, the newly appointed head of the Lipton real estate empire over there in Georgia. This here is my right-hand man, Jake Golden. And this is my beautiful fiance, she cut him off. My name is Beth Eves, sister of Catherine Eves. Cat to you girls, she said sharply, folding her arms. And the reason why I waltzed on over here is because I could not believe my pretty big blue eyes that you would just stroll on in here and strut around like you didn't fuck my sister's boyfriend on camera, might I add, and start the drama that would result in her untimely departure to the heavens. She spoke loudly while dramatically staring at the ceiling, putting her hands over her heart. The party fell to quiet whispers as people turned to look at Beth and Mckenzie. Mckenzie was pissed, but knew not to break character. She calmly replied to Beth, "I was a victim of Evan, just like all the other girls. Somebody he toyed with, manipulated, and embarrassed. And I came tonight to have my closure. I'm just trying to turn the page on the whole ordeal, because I was deeply affected." Beth smacked Mckenzie hard across the face, causing everybody to gasp. "One thing I will not sit here and do is listen to the lies of a red-headed whore. You tempted that poor boy and was all too quick to spread your legs and open your mouth nice and wide. Or did you forget that I saw it in HD right across my phone? You can't fool me, you fucking tramp." Julia screamed out, "Oh, hell no," and leaped towards Beth. Lindsay and Lipton held her back as she went into a fit of rage trying to reach Beth. All three of them fell over onto the floor, causing a big scene of commotion. Mckenzie was still in shock, holding her face, staring at Beth as she walked off with the man named Jake following behind her. Beth whispered to Jake, "We still short girls for the next shipment, right?" Jake nodded in silence. "Well, I don't think nobody in Chattanooga would care if that Mexican slut came up missing. So Jake," he looked her in the eyes, "make it happen." He smiled, a sinister smile. "It shall be done, Miss Eves." Mckenzie snapped back to reality and bent down to try to help calm Julie down. "Jules, it's okay. Look, it's okay. Let it go. Let it go. She's not worth it." "Not worth it?" Jules screamed as she pushed Lipton off of her and got to her feet. A tall man ran over quickly in all the commotion. "Dad!" Lindsay yelped. "I'm sorry, it happened so fast." "Shh, it's okay, Princess. I saw the whole thing," he said, helping his daughter to her feet. "I'll be speaking to Mr. Eves about his daughter's nasty behavior. I seriously never liked that girl." At that moment, somebody touched Mckenzie on the shoulder and whispered, "Roses." Mckenzie froze in her place. "Meet me upstairs in the last room on the left. I've checked it out. Nobody's been in or out of there, and it's unlocked." Mckenzie turned to watch a guy in a black hoodie with the hood up disappear back into the crowd. Mackenzie's heart started pounding fast. She gathered herself and turned to Julie and the rest of the group, who was talking amongst themselves. "Excuse me, everybody. After all of that, I'm kind of embarrassed. I need a few minutes alone to collect myself, please." Lindsay's dad turned to her and grabbed her shoulder, smiling. "You take all the time you need, young lady, and you come back, please, really. You're welcome here. You did nothing wrong, and I apologize on behalf of my guest." "You okay, girl?" Julie said, "Calm down." "I'm fine," Mckenzie said with a forced smile. "Well, I hope both of you stay to eat," Lindsay blurted out awkwardly. "I can eat," Julie said, "and I'll have another drink or three to calm my nerves before I go beat her head in." "Well, great. I'll catch up with you guys in a few moments," Mckenzie said as she took off through the crowd and made her way up the stairs. Mckenzie had a crazed look in her eyes as he marched down the hallway. She had thoughts of cutting Beth's throat over and over and over racing through her head. Who does that bitch think she is? Oh, she will get hers. I promise that. The thought made her smile. But she had to focus, one problem at a time. She opened the door to the last room on the left. The room was dimly lit and seemed to be a mini library/work study. A man in a hood stood by a window staring out into the night sky. Mckenzie shut and locked the door behind her before speaking. "So I take it was you who left the note?" "The rose too," he said, still staring out the window. "Excuse me?" she said, confused. He turned and took his hood down. "I also left you a rose. It reminded me of your hair." He smiled. Mckenzie studied his face. He was definitely mixed, but she couldn't tell or guess what his ethnic background was. He was light-skinned and wore thick glasses over his light brown eyes. He had gauges in his ears and nose rings, and a head full of messy, curly, sandy brown hair. She actually found him sort of cute. Too bad that if he said the wrong thing in the next couple of minutes, she's probably going to push him out that open window. So, you got me here. What do you want? The guy smiled. My name is Dylan, by the way. Well, okay, Dylan. I ask again, what do you want? He walked towards her. Mckenzie went into fight mode and took the switchblade out of her boot and flicked it open. Hold on there, buddy. If you thought you was gonna come up here and I was gonna let you take advantage of me, you got the wrong fucking idea, asshole, she said, pointing the knife at him. He smiled and put his hands up. Not at all. I mean, you're the most beautiful woman in the city. But forcing myself on you, that's not what I want. Then what do you want? And what the fuck do you think you know? Oh, I know a lot. I know a lot based off what I just saw happen downstairs. I know that if I drop clues to the cops that you were in the barn that night at the party, the Eves, who are best friends and own the cops around here, will probably have you picked up and your ass will be fried. Am I right? He said, smiling. Mckenzie looked pissed and annoyed, but dropped the knife. You have no proof, and I'm not admitting shit. But again, what do you want? He walked up to her, and they were face to face. She put the knife in his neck as they locked eyes. Dylan kept smiling. What I want is 3 things. He held up 3 fingers. I want a couple of dates with the prettiest girl in Chattanooga. 2, while we're on those dates, maybe you can show me how to talk to girls. I'm not really that good in that area, and I, could use some help. And 3, Mckenzie whispered. Well, 3, he took a deep breath. I want to learn how to murder people and get away with it, like you. I mean, maybe helping you take out Beth can be my first attempt. Mckenzie dropped her arm holding the knife. He was still staring deep in her eyes. She could tell he was dead serious. After a few moments of silence, a sinister smile crept across her face. You want to go down this rabbit hole? She moved his hand down her waist. He was breathing heavily and said yes in a quiet voice. She slipped his hand up her dress and made him pleasure her. After a few moments of that and her moaning, he looked taken back but kept his eyes locked on hers. As she moaned a little more, they removed his hand and she licked his fingers clean. Well, baby, my name isn't Alice, and this ain't nobody's wonderland. He smiled. Teach me. And what? What do my fingers taste like? She leaned in close to his ear and whispered, Baby, I taste like wild roses.